Hello everyone and welcome back to EML. It's going to get Josh's camera screen on in 1 second because, as usual, issues. 1 second, then we will get started. No. I don't want to delete from
Yes.
my PC.
Oh,
But
I'm on.
anyway,
Hello, everybody.
hello Josh, welcome in. There we
Hello.
go. Oh,
Pleasure to be
you're
here. Am
very
I here?
large on the stream.
I can sit further back if that helps. Hello, everybody. Pleasure to be here. I'm very much looking forward to tonight, Richie, as well. Pleasure to step in and help you. And I'm looking forward as well for the EML PC Challenge Cup and the British Grand Prix at Silverstone.
Yes.
Everybody loves Silverstone and everybody loves this track. And I can't wait to see what we're going to have tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. And a lot of our regulars that we've seen as well across other leagues coming in. A lot of newbies that I've never seen race before. I'm looking forward to it.
Same. It's going to be a great one. Last week we had a really good race at Bahrain to kick off the season. This week I can probably expect it to be better because it's Silverstone. It's a great racetrack. Everyone likes Silverstone. Everyone knows Silverstone. Even if you don't watch racing, you know what Silverstone is. Just looking back at the previous podiums from last week, we saw Tycho Hardy take the win over Jacopo Grillo in FVR, and then Harlan Marquis came out home in third for TF10. So great start from those three teams getting themselves on the podium. There was a bit of a late safety car last race, so it kind of helped people a little bit with different strategies, and obviously got Jacopo into that second position. Look at the standings, you can see Talent Factory 47 points, leading by over 12 to FVR. TF10 just 1 point behind them on 34. NLR 10 points behind, and then T and QRT are just 3 points behind. Then it goes all the way down to ET8, who are on -2. And I haven't done much research yet regarding the rules 100%, so I'm not sure why they're on -2, but someone will know. So I presume that is there for a reason.
Great though for Talent Factory being first and 47 points after the first round of the season as well.
Yep.
And Silverstone also a great leveler for this track as well, as we've talked about before, Richie. We've seen a number of races here for esports, haven't we? All classics. It's built on the former airfield, of course, so it's going to be very interesting. But here's the driver lineup coming into tonight.
Yep, so we have F1 Friends Cup with Diego Fernandez and Victor Santana. TF10 are taking Julian Klaffenbach and Sven Schumacher. FVR in the McLarens are taking Stefano Samson and Kubat Tresiak. QRT taking Alberto Barros and Cameron Pratt-Thompson. ET8 are taking Bogdan Moldovan, a driver we all know and love, and Liam Stevens. Talent Factory are taking Jan-Pietro Reggiano and Tycho Hardy. TTL with Charles Sutton and Casper Priest. NLR with Joris and Rookie. Shazoo with Tim Bayer and Lars Butterman. And then finally, in the house, we've got Team Vala with Alexander Johansson and Emmy. Obviously, I'm not going to read through the reserves, but they're on the screen. And I believe most reserves haven't been used, which is a good sign as well, because it means all the drivers that were meant to be here are racing.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting lineup as well. 17 of them just in the lobby at the moment as well, getting ready to go in. One thing I'm noticing, Rich, though, a few of them with a bit of a dodgy internet connection. But this is the circuit at Silverstone, 3.660 miles, 18 turns. If you want me to go through them all, I've got a bit of a second to tell you about them. Abbey, Farm, Village, Loop, Aintree, down the Wellington Straight before you come into Brooklands, Luffield, Woodcut. Then you go through into Cops Corner, down Maggots, Beckett, Chapel, Hanger Straight, into Stowe before Vale and Club rounds out the fantastic circuit here as well. It's built on an old airfield, of course, RAF Silverstone. Is the old one as well. You can still see parts of the runway there on the screen in Sector 3 running between as well. But the original runway is now formed of the paddock area and a rallycross track, because what used to be the international circuit now was made into the Grand Prix circuit, with the infield section being built back in 2010. So it's a fantastic layout. And even with the modifications over the years of Silverstone, it's still at its root the home of British motorsport and, of course, Bethlehem for Formula One.
Yeah, it's an absolutely amazing track. Obviously, the first Grand Prix back in 1950. And I think, if I'm correct, I think Silverstone and Monaco have held the most Grand Prix, haven't they? I think it's just over 50, isn't it?
Yeah. A couple of British Grand Prix were held at places like Aintree and Brands Hatch as well. Donington held the European Grand Prix, so never officially held the British Grand Prix. But yeah, so it's just over 50 to close to 60 now for Silverstone as well. But Brands Hatch doubled up for a couple of years and held around about 15. Aintree held about 5. And then Silverstone's obviously more and more. But of course, the reason they alternated it was because Brands Hatch became the home of British Motorsport as well on the Grand Prix layout, and it was a nicer racetrack to race at than Silverstone, because at those days Silverstone was bumpy and it had sort of concrete exit curves. So it was a very, very rough circuit, and Brands Hatch was rich and smooth, and that's what led to Silverstone having to update itself, bring all its infrastructure in as well for what was the circuit from 1994 onwards. Which was what we see today of Maggots and Beckett's. And then in 2010, the circuit changed, so it removed Bridge and Priory, which was it was the Abbey. It used to be, instead of the Abbey curve, it was Abbey chicane. So it was a left, right. Then it went down underneath the bridge section, flat out through Bridge, uphill, then a double left, which took you through Priory and then directly into Brooklands as well. So it's all sort of changed down there with the Wellington Straight. And I do miss Priory. It's a great name for the circuit.
I'm glad you remember that, because I didn't know anything about that. I don't really know much about the history of Silverstone. So I never knew that existed with the chicane down at Turn 1 at Abbey.
There's been 3 different start lines at Silverstone, and not many people remember that, because everyone was,
the F1 start line, then you've also got the GT and F2 start line.
Yeah, the international start line, and the national start line, and then the original start line. Now, for those of you, because you don't know, Bridge is named Bridge because in 1948, 1949, 1950, all the way to 1953, the original start line of Silverstone was there. It was a flat out section of the track. But then they modified it. So the start line was at Bridge, and there's still the bridge at Silverstone as well. And I've walked across that. And I must admit, I was leaving the circuit when I walked across it, and I felt very emotional because below, that's where Formula One started. I've stood at the birthplace of Formula One. It's fantastic. And so that was the original start line through Bridge into Priory. But then they changed it when the circuit got modified in the 60s. That's when it moved to the exit of Woodcut before Copse Corner. So that was the start line we saw for all those years of Formula One. Then they moved it back to the exit of Club down towards Abbey, which is close enough to where the original start line was. So they've tried to keep it's sort of still in the same line, effectively, the start line at Silverstone. It's all in the same direction, but the location's just moved around.
It's definitely some of the biggest changes, then, isn't it? Because
for sure, yeah.
Like if I was to, I suppose, after what you told me, if I was to see a picture of the old track, I wouldn't even think it's the same track. But we are getting into qualifying, so we will head onto the main screen, and just a bit of a sneak peek of why ETA are on -2 points. That is because they earned 8 points in the race, but due to missing the deadline submission, they get -10 points. So they went from 8 to -2, if I got that correct.
Even worse, that.
We are getting ready, and it should be a great qualifying session. Where?
So I was just on that screen, as I was looking at as well on your side of it as well. We're looking at the wing now, but it was that part of the track. Where we're now looking again. Look, it's down the runoff there at Turn 1 Aintree, and it goes straight on into the old chicane area. So it's a very, very good track. I'll have to share a photo, Richie, and it will blow your mind how different it was.
But full wet. That's a bit of a surprise, but then again, it is the UK, so we shouldn't have really been surprised. But that should throw some different things into the strategy, because just say, obviously, Parc Fermé's on, I believe. So just say there is the wet qualifying but a dry race. What do the drivers do? Do they choose to go into the wet compound, or do they? Wet setup, or do they take their dry setup, knowing that will benefit them in the race?
I would take the dry setup personally, because if a wet setup in this situation, it's just going to ruin you. It's ruining you completely for a dry race. So sacrifice speed and time for race pace.
Yes.
So everyone's going to do that. No one's going to be silly enough to do that. And
unless it is a wet race as well. We never know.
That too, but
choosing
We'll
to go
get the
out.
confirmation. Someone will tell us. Someone will tell us in either the chat with the engineers, the drivers, or the Discord what it is and what we're going to see. I'm keeping my eye on that screen now, actually, to see if it comes up, but I'm not seeing anything just yet. But out on the track, the first one out, it's going to be the Aston Martin of Alberto Barros as he comes down.
Oh, he spun,
spins
hit
it
the wall,
immediately.
and he's lost his front wing, or at least he's damaged it. So that is a not ideal start for QRT at all. However, his teammate is also out the lap, Cameron Pratt-Thompson. He's just coming through in towards turn 3 now and turn 4. And let's know in the chat. Oh, wait, no. We've been told in the chat it is a rain qualifying, but a dry race.
Oh,
So
fantastic. Thank you, Simon.
I presume
Hello again, mate.
people will be struggling because they'll be taking the dry setup. Sven Schumacher, Victor Santana, Liam Stevens, Bogdan, all coming onto track now.
Explains the spin we saw then straight off the mark because of it.
Bradders says in the chat, let's go Tycho and Augie. Yendrick says no one saw this, and I presume that's on about the thing with Alberto, but as it says QRT in his name. But Cameron will be actually the second person to set the lap because the person out first is not Liam Stevens, it's the other one, which is Bogdan Moldovan, a driver that me and Josh know very well. We've been with him through PSGL, WOR, and I think we've seen him in a couple of other events we've taken part in. So nice to see Bogdan making an appearance here, and I'm sure he'll be one of the guys to do really well. Yeah,
Bogdan, of course, season 30 PCF4 champion in PSGL is the one now I know he's gone for him as well. You're following him in WOR in that tier as well, and he's now here for the EML series, and he's a busy boy, isn't he? He's always doing something, like we are, Richie. She said to me this afternoon in practice too, in our watch along. It's another series we've duoed together on, but partnership works.
Yes, I believe it's the 4th. This one is.
I think it is. Yeah.
Oh, big slide from Bogdan as he comes through turn 2, coming in towards turn 3 and 4 now. Oh, misses the apex completely there. Bogdan struggling a bit, but if he's on a dry setup, he will struggle. Misses the apex at the loop now. He'll be getting on the power nice and early as possible as he comes through Aintree down the Wellington Straights. And you can see he's absolutely sliding everywhere as he comes through now into Brooklands.
We're in for a complete treat here, Richie. Absolute treat, because everybody's on the dry setup, so everyone's going to be spinning everywhere. This is fantastic for us.
He's just not got any control under the car. Watching this reminds me of watching the Williams 2022 car on track in the dry. It's just got hardly any downforce because it's a dry setup, and someone's already around. That's a Williams. That'll be an NLR car down at Luffield, and he's just getting out the way for a Red Bull and another Alpine. But Bogdan, let's see what he can do in this middle sector. Just coming through Manx and Beckett. Now will be shortly coming out onto the Chapel Curve, having a bit of a snap of oversteer. Another snap of oversteer on the exit. Really, really struggling. A 13.555 for his split first and second sector. Now coming down the hanger straight in towards Stowe. Got to be very careful around here because it's a very difficult corner. You can lose the rear easily. But Bogdan able to get his foot down pretty quickly through that sector. Now into towards the Vale chicane. Very nice. A lot of a slower section, so it's a lot easier to not spin. And now he comes through Club. What time does Bogdan set on the board? It'll be 1:41.009.
Very slow time, but that's because it's wet tyres on a dry setup. So it's a very slow one, but amazing to get through that. And we were watching, he's still trying to fight and control the car. Let's take a look then. P17 on the board with Gianpietro Organio as well as he comes through. Gianpietro, we cover in another league, don't we, actually?
Yes, WR.
In WR and PSGLF too, yeah. So very quick driver, comes out of club up towards the line and does a 1:40.906. So a tenth of a second faster than Bogdan Moldovan, and it just shows you how difficult it is to keep the control at the moment as Lars Butterman goes top. 1:40.466. My goodness, that's a flyer in these conditions at this early stage.
It is 0.6 quicker than Gianpietro. On board with Cuba Tresiak, he's just coming through Magnussen Beckett's now. Run for FVR, his teammate, down, well, up in 11th, but he's got to set a lap time. Tygo Hardy puts Talent Factory onto a 2-3 provisional for the qualifying session. Not a bad start from ET8, 4th and 6th. Julian Klaffenbach with a 42.693. So definitely not the time he wants to be setting. But still on board with Cuba. as he's coming through into the final corner now. And I'm not actually sure if he was on a... Yeah, no, he wasn't on a lap. He let off coming through that third sector. But we'll stay on board with him because he'll be beginning his first lap of the session. Well, his first proper lap of the session. You can see he's really struggling, but able to get the throttle down really nice and easy, just able to control the rear of the car under traction. Now coming through farm curve, taking a nice wide line as he enters into turn 3 down at Village, taking the apex nicely. Oh, having a bit of a snap there on the exit, now in towards the loop on the exit, very nice into gear 5, puts his foot down really gradually and having to lift off massively as he came through the loop. And that's Sven Schumacher into third with the TF10 car, Mercedes. Really nice qualifying that from him. His teammate got a lot of work to do to get himself into that top 5. Obviously, TF10 third in the championship with 34 points. And Gianpietro Giano goes quickest with a 40.087. So the track getting a lot more evolved now as we work through the qualifying session. So the times will start to crumble down. Still on board with Cuba as he comes through, cops really, really wide there. That'll lose him so much time. Actually went off track, but it didn't register.
At least a second gone there for sure, Richie. The track now, everyone's getting used to it a little bit more. So Gianpietro on top, going really, really well. There's a big slide there from Cuba coming out into Chapel and down the hanger straight once again.
And 14 seconds up on his previous time. So that's a 44 in the middle sector. So he's got... Actually, that lap's looking really quick, to be fair. Looking to put himself into the top 5, possibly. Bogdan, though, setting a really nice lap, considering how much he was struggling with the car. A second off Gianpietro, but Cuba just coming into the final corner now at Club. Big slide, controls it nicely. Does he go into the big slide, 41.5. Lost a lot of time coming out of Club, lost a lot of time in Cops especially, but puts himself into 8th. Currently, FVR are doing quite well, their driver. Jacopo got 2nd in Bahrain. Currently, FVR 8th and 10th, so that doesn't look like it will be the most possible scenario, but you never know. Anything's possible. And TF10, Julian Klaffenbach is on a lap. He's up by 1.7 seconds. Really nice middle sector from Julian. Sven down in 6th now because Bogdan moved up to 3rd with a 40.6, and the car's really, really struggling out on the track so far. Cameron Thompson up to 5th with a 40.831. Still on board with Julian though, as he comes into the final couple of corners, taking a bit of curb. Oh, a lot of curb coming in towards Club. That's not a bad lap at all. Puts him into 5th with a 40.7. And Joris still
planted there.
And Joris still not set a lap. That is Diego Fernandez going up to 14th with a 43.5. Tim Bayap, the Shizou driver, also not set a lap yet, but he's just coming through into Club now. Let's see what time he can set. In the Alfa Romeo, it'll be a 41, only 13th fastest. So not the lap he wanted.
Yeah, they're all struggling with these conditions. They are all struggling, and I'm actually glad it's a dry race, because otherwise it would have been a boring qualifying, to be fair.
That's true. Very true. And if it was a wet race, I think we won't get much racing, because it's a track that because obviously the average speed range is about 250 kilometers an hour. So you know you're always really, really quick, and that's one of the TTL drivers down at, I believe, the Exeter Cops. But yeah, because it's a very quick track, you're always going quite fast. If you was to spin at 200 kilometers an hour in the wet, you're just going to fly across the track into a wall. So
float like a butterfly, spin like a beaver.
So you can't take the risks you would in the dry. So it's one of those.
So you've got to, and this is why we're seeing all the guys out there just sort of lifting, coasting through the corners, no throttle or half throttle, just spinning it through and just keeping it calm. Nobody wants to bin it because you're going to have a horrible qualifying position. Everyone wants to be top dollar, but Gianpietro is looking fantastic out there.
He is, and TF as well, looking really good. The Ferrari guys, Tycho in 4th, Gianpietro in 1st. Considering they're leading the championship by 12 points, that's what they want. And Gianpietro improves again into the 39s. A 39.871, really nice lap for Gianpietro. Definitely did a lot of practice in the wet here compared to some of the others. But a shame to see some of the drivers just not on much pace at all. Casper Priest, a 42.3. Alberto Barros on a 43.4. But Cameron in Kyoto, he's doing really well, isn't he, for the moment? Put him into P6. I'm sure Alberto will be able to gain some time. He is the driver that had that spin down the exit of turn 2. And he's invalidated his lap. Coming through Max and Beckett, so that's not what Barrow wanted. He's got, what, 7 minutes left, so he hasn't got all the time in the world to do anything about it. Liam Stevens just coming through the middle sector up by 3.7 tenths. Purple in that middle sector, so he's got a lot of time to gain in this final sector, but if you can make it work, it'll be a really nice lap for Liam, and having a big slide, missing the apex completely coming through. So now in towards the Vale chicane, missing the apex completely, braking a bit too late, going deep. Now coming out of turn 19, and he comes up to
very
line,
good.
41.0, and the tyres, we've got what? Cameron in the pits onto Inters, and we've also got Charles Sutton onto Inters. So that could change it up a little bit, depending on how the evolution of the track. And Cameron's not coming out the pit lane just yet, but Stefano is. He's on a set of wet, so he's not choosing that Inter compound. Yet again, it could be some drivers trying to bluff the others by pretending to put onto the Inters, and then they'll actually go out on the wets. Because obviously they can change it in the settings, but we'll see, because the track does look like it's drying up, but it's very hard to tell from our camera view if it's dry enough for Inters or not.
The drivers will feel it immediately. As soon as they put the pressure down, they'll know how much grip they've got coming into the corners. The wheel, if they're using the force feedback, which I think most of the field are, they'll feel it with how the rear of the car slides, how much resistance there is. It's an amazing realism you get with the force feedback. And a direct feed as well. Amazing. Codemasters do get some criticism for broken codes, but when it comes to realism and the feel of the car in wet conditions, they've done an amazing amount of work, and you can barely believe it sometimes when you drive one of these cars in a proper esport rig.
And Schumacher was up by 3 tenths, but he's entered into the pit lane, so I believe he would have lost time in Stowe, and he thought, well, there's no point continuing that run. Bogdan Moldovan also on a lap currently, just beginning one of his final laps probably. Just 5 minutes left in the session. Bogdan up in third. Very nice for ET8, considering they're on -2 points. A third place would be very beneficial for them. We've also got Liam Stevens up to third for ET8, so currently an ET8 3-4. Very, very nice. Also very nice for Talent Factory, still with the 1-5. Tygo Hardy hasn't been out for a while, so he'll probably want to get out soon. Get another lap in the bag, and Lars went onto the wets, but went onto the Inters, but has gone back onto the wets. And we've got Charles Sutton, who's coming out on Inter tyres now, so we'll have a little look over at him to see what those Inters are like out on the track. Currently TTL, 18th and 19th, so not where they want to be. Alexander Johansson, I believe, had a qualifying ban, if I'm correct. So I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that is the case. That's why he's obviously not set a lap at all. His teammate, M8, up in 16th, so not the best qualifying session for him so far. It's nearly 1.5 seconds off Gian Pietro Giano, so he definitely wants to be within a second, at least. But I'm on board with Charles Sutton, just seeing what he's able to do on his in to see if they work out. But if not, obviously he'll just come back in, switch over to some wets and try and get out in time and get another lap in. Back to Bogdan, who's just coming through the final couple of corners up by 3 tenths. In his middle sector. So this is looking good for Bogdan. Get himself into that top 2, maybe start in the front row. That is what Bogdan would really, really like. His teammates up in third, so they can work together as a team. ET8 can, and Bogdan up to second with a 40.176. Very close to that 39. But Gian Pietro Giano on an absolute other level. Still, no one can get within 3 tenths of him. Absolutely amazing from Gian Pietro. But then again, he's a really great driver. We've seen his performances in the wet before, and we know he's quick in the wet. So
he's got the setup for the wet, hasn't he? He's got it perfect, and he does do a lot of running in both wet and dry. We've heard of him before. He does a lot of laps in dry conditions and wet conditions as well.
Yep, on board with Charles.
Chip. Oh, sorry, go on, Richard.
On board with Charles Sutton. I just want to see how those Inters are holding up. They don't look like they're doing too well, but I'm just going to stick up board with him just to see if he does improve on his previous best.
Do you know something I would have done, Richie? It's an Ayrton Senna technique. I would have put slicks on, gone out the track, learned where the grip was, come in, put on the wet tyres, you instantly go faster. It's a great trick that Ayrton Senna does.
I don't think the game's that real, unfortunately. I don't think it has that realism.
With Ayrton Senna always did this trick as well. It was fantastic. If it had just started to rain, he would stay out the slick tyres until the last possible second, then come in for wets, because he would be as quick on the softs as he would be on the wet tyres.
Yeah.
By the end of it, even in monsoon conditions, he would stay on them. Schumacher got that tip off him and did it as well. And it's what Hamilton is also, I've noticed in the last couple of years, picked up with that inter to slick when he did at Turkey in 2020. It's a unique skill that you can pick up. You get to know the car, you get to know the speed of it on slick tires in wet conditions, and then you instantly know also where the problems are and know where to make it better with wet tires. It's fantastic.
Gianpietro Ogiano hasn't had to do that trick to get quicker. He's up by a tenth and a half in the
Oh.
first sector alone. So Gianpietro on even more, I wouldn't say dominance, but he's on a lot more pace. And if, just say, Bogdan and Lars and that can't improve, it's going to look really good for Gianpietro when it comes to the race. But we're just going to stick on board as he comes through. Banks and Beckett's now. And let's see, can Gianpietro extend his provisional pole by even more as he comes out of the Chapel Curve? 3.5 tenths for Gianpietro Ogiano. Purple middle sector. Let's see, can he improve and can he just try and get himself into the 39.4s, 39.3s maybe if he's got that pace in the final sector. He's coming down in towards the Vale chicane and the club.
Rocky goes second, 140.085. I wonder if Gianpietro has sacrificed a little bit of dry setup for a bit of a wet one here in quali, but he's still sliding, so he's still got something, and he does a 139.321. Are you joking me?
Everyone's improving. Tim Bayer up by 6 tenths in the middle sector. Rookie up into third. Bogdan is also on that page, just coming through into Manxon Beckett's now, but I'm on board with Tim Bayer. Let's see, can he get himself into the top 10? His teammate in second with a 39.5 for Lars Butterman. Let's see, where can Tim Bayer go as he comes up towards the line? He improves only to a 40.9, so not what he would have wanted. Sven Schumacher also coming through in towards the Vale chicane. Now he's up by 5.5 tenths on his previous time, so looking to be a 40.3. That's Barros, I think, there. Just having a big slide on the exit of the chicane. But
he's a negative lap as well, and he's on inters. It was a 1:41 last sector. It was a 2-minute lap for him. The inters are nowhere.
And now the session is ended. So Bogdan on his final run improves to third. Very nice lap from Bogdan. Tiger Hardy down by 4 tenths. Liam Stevens up by 6 tenths. So
Richie Lars Bunneman has spun coming through Luffield in P2, and he was a 10th up. He's now lost the time. He will not start on pole position.
And Ogiano, I believe, is also on the lap. We've got a spin from an Alfa Romeo. I think that is
That
Tim.
was Lars Bunneman.
Oh, it was there we go. So last spun, and there is Liam Stevens just passing him up the inside. Q Tresiak finishes in 9th. Stefano Samson in 10th. Casper Priest goes up to 15th with a 41.1. Charles Sutton out the session. He's retired in the pit lane. Staying on board with Liam Stevens, currently down in 7th. Would be nice to get it yourself near his teammate in 3rd or 4th. Tycho Hardy finishes in 5th. Joris finishes in 8th, and that's rookie into the pits. But Gianpietro Ogiano, 39.0, going to extend his provisional pole by even more to put it to at least 5 tenths. But let's see, can Liam Stevens destroy the party for Gianpietro Ogiano as he comes through in towards Vale and Club now? Sven Schumacher also on a lap. He's just coming down in towards Brooklands.
Oh, this is good.
But Cameron Thompson up to 7th. Gets through on Liam Stevens. Liam down to 8th. He's got to get this right if he wants to get himself into that top 5. Big slide into the final corner. Liam goes up to 4th. Very nice. Victor Santana up to 3rd with a 39.6. Sven Schumacher just coming through into the final few corners. Can he get himself into that top 5? Sven doesn't improve. But Gianpietro Ogiano, what a lap. What a session from him so far. Absolutely amazing. And to see FFC in 3rd, that's another big surprise. I think they was 8th in the standings at the start, but look at that. 5 tenths. Mega. That is absolute mega pace. But you've got to remember, it's not wet now, so it could all change, couldn't it? But Lars,
how much did he sacrifice for the wet set?
We don't know. Or it could have just been the ultimate wet pace. But Lars Butterman starting 2nd, Victor Santana in 3rd, followed by Liam Stevens, Bogdan Moldovan, Sven Schumacher, Tiger Hardy, Rookie, Cameron and Joris take out your top 10. Then Kuba Tresiak and Stefano Samsin, Julian Klaffenbach, Tim Bayer, Casper Priest, Alberto Barros, Emmy, Diego Fernandez, Charles Sutton, and then Alexander Johansson, who didn't set a time because he retired at the start of the session. But that was quite interesting for the guys at the front. Very, very interesting. I don't know if you can say that Ogiano's going to take the win here, because you never know what can happen in the race. Maybe he's not strong in the dry, we don't know. TF in the chat looking very, very supported of Oggiano. Max says Oggiano is so clear. Legend. Oggy the GOAT.
It looks beautiful here at Silverstone
does.
now. Beautiful blue skies. And track temperature's going to be up. So I reckon they're all going to start on the soft tyres, Richie, instead of the hards.
I could see the hards probably being the most realistic option. It's the quickest strategy on the game in nearly every track. Hard to medium, or possibly someone going for a bit of a medium to hard to change it up a little bit.
But Masters have got to fix that. They've got to fix that.
The softs aren't the softs aren't really a race tyre in this game.
They've got to fix that as well, because they are the race tyre, aren't they? We always see that. The hards barely get used in the
And Tom says normally England doesn't look this good. No, it doesn't normally look this good. This is a very big surprise. We haven't seen this type of weather in years.
No, we haven't.
And
it's barbecue weather.
Harrington says up NLR. How come he was banned? I don't know who was banned, but we get started in 3 seconds. And we can see the cars very shortly. They've got the setups, got the tyres. Let's see. As we can look in a second to Oggiano on pole, followed by Lars Butterman in second. We've got 4 lights and 5 lights. And it's lights out for the British Grand Prix. Lars and Oggiano having really good starts. Let's see, does Lars pose a threat into turn 1? He's going to go for it into turn 1. Lars will provisionally take the lead of the race. But Oggiano still going to fight back as they go through into turn 3. Victor Santana also getting involved. That's also Bogdan Moldovan looking to get through on Victor. Victor goes a little bit deep into turn 3. Bogdan on the charge. Emmy's down at turn 3. He had a bit of a collision with the driver. Oggiano takes the lead back from Lars. But Lars going to go around the outside at Aintree. Still going to try and push as they head now down the Wellington Straight in towards Brooklands, and Lars sits behind, so he's now going to be sitting for second. Liam Stevens and Sven Schumacher fighting for 5th, and that's also Cameron Thompson getting involved, trying to go around the outside on Sven and Victor Santana under pressure from Liam as they come out of Woodcote now, going to be charging down towards Cops. This could end in tragedy for Victor and Liam. They're going to Cops side by side. Liam takes the inside line over Victor, and Victor's wanted to go for the switchback but didn't have the pace and the grip to do so. Cameron still on the back of Sven as they come through Max and Beckett into Chapel.
Lars is down into 13th position after being in P2. He's gone very wide, and there's a Cameron with a 5-second time penalty, and it's all wide, coming down Hanger Straight. 6 wide once again into the braking zone. They're all over the place. Lars got forced down, coming down into Stowe. And well, this is just all going wrong for him, isn't it? From second place, gets forced out with Jan Petra, goes wide at Cops, gets forced out again at Stowe. He's down to 11th position.
Yannick has informed us that Lars' game tabbed out again. That happened last week at Bahrain. But Tim Bayer also looking for a move on Alberto Barras as they go into turn 1, but just not quite close enough. Both of them off track there. Big snap from Tim as he comes through turn 3. That's going to allow Stefano, and that's Alberto round under braking. He's just locked at the rears and straight round. Luckily, people could avoid that and no damage caused. But that's now Alberto down to 19th position. Stefano Stam sits still on the back of Tim Bayer as they come down the Wellington Straight.
You had a perfect on board of that, Richie. Absolutely fantastic. See him dropping it as well as they come through. So the field separated again by around about 8 seconds. That's a very nice, healthy margin we've got at the moment. Jean Pedro 6 tenths ahead of Bogdan Moldovan, 4 tenths ahead of Liam Stevens as well as they come through. Disaster for Lars Bunham, as we know. His game now tabbing out as well. Thought he went wide for some reason. Down at Cops here. Now we know why. And now the action continues. There's look further ahead with Tycho Hardy. Trying to get ahead of Cuba coming through down Maggots and Beckett's way.
Yep, Tycho had a bit of a bad start. Not sure what happened, but he's lost a few positions. But ETA, they're looking really good at the moment. Second and third, considering the bottom of the standings, by I believe 7 or 8 points behind. And there we are. Tycho Hardy going through on Cuba Tresiak, or trying to. Does he get through? Yes, he does. Cuba having to go a little bit wide there to avoid contact. And I think he lets position go. That's Tycho back up into 9th. So we'll definitely want to be catching up the field because his teammate's in first, leading by 5 tenths. Alexander Johansson with a 5-second penalty speeding in the pit lane. Alberto Barras also in the pit lane there.
So it's bye-bye for them then, isn't it?
Yeah, and the DRS has been enabled as we head on to lap 3 of the race. Lars Butterman wanting to work his way through the field. He had a big incident as well in Bahrain, which involved his game tabbing out, and the same thing seems to have happened again. So Lars not having the look he wants, and also looking in the chat, the bum Saying online if you'll cheaters, if I was you, I'd shut up because we don't care. As we head now into Brooklands with Lars Butterman on the back of Cuba Tresiak, still looking to pose a threat, but just can't find a way to get through. He gets within a tenth or so, but he just can't. You know, you just can't get through, and that's an issue sometimes around here. When you're in that DRS train, it can be really, really hard to get an attack on someone as they head now in towards Cops.
Butterman's just all over the back, isn't he? If Cuba can't find a way through, becoming a bit more vulnerable to Julian as well, right behind him. Casper closing in. This is a very tense race already. I'm keeping an eye on the front. You're keeping an eye on the midfield. But German Petro keeping ground. 6/10 to 7/10. It keeps fluctuating this lap to Bogdan Moldovan. He's still within the DRS, but no one going for a move just yet. Silverstone, very hard to overtake on when you're in the middle of the corners because they're single file mostly. Yeah. But the long straights we get here mean that you close up in the corners, stretch out the straight, and it's like an accordion effect, basically. You're going in and out constantly. As Moldovan now, with that DRS on the previous lap, was a 130.828 with the fastest lap.
Josh, I'll be honest, I tried to keep a professionality there when you was talking about the accordion.
I was going like that in the cameras. You could see what I was doing.
No, it was the in and out comment. I know it's childish, but it made me laugh a bit. But look in the chat. What does tabbing out mean? So that's basically when the game just like... If you used to do Alt-Tab on your keyboard and it'd tab out the game, I can't explain it. But that's what it is, so we need to... It pauses the game, turns his game off, he's then got to switch it back on very quickly in a couple of seconds and he can unpause and get on with it. But obviously, the AI is a lot less powerful than these drivers, so it will lose him time. And...
The commentator's equivalent is losing your microphone halfway through the race.
That could be a good assumption, but I don't think we've had to deal with our microphones getting lost, have we?
I've had it once.
You've lost it in a stream?
Yeah, once, and I had a backup USB headset already just in case. So
but
I'm very well prepared.
Also, again on the back of Lars Butterman as they come down in towards Stowe, and Lars yet again within a tenth, and he goes for the dive bomb up on Cuba into Stowe, but he just can't get it done. As a massive snap, has to concede the position back to Cuba, but he, we can see now he really wants that position, but he just can't get it. He went into Stowe. That was an absolute, just an absolute dive. Yeah. Lost her on the exit of Stowe, and Cuba was like, thank you for that. I'll just continue back in 10th as we head back onto turn 3. For the 5th lap of the race, and Julian gaining on Lars, but obviously not enough to gain any positions. Going a little bit wide, going up the inside of Lars. Lars had a bit of a lock-up, I think. And they go side by side through the loop into Aintree now. Is Julian going to try and get through? Oh, a bit of contact between the two as they come down.
He's going to penalty.
The Wellington straight. Lars with the penalty that surely might be removed due to a battle. But we'll have to see. Lars going to go around the inside now. He gives him the inside line up into Luffield. And then it'll also give him the inside into Woodcut. But he's going to push a little bit wide, but luckily it doesn't result in any contact, and they both make it through safe and sound. But losing lots of time, isn't he, Lars?
I tell you what, Richie, I was watching on board there with Lars, and at no point did he go all 4 wheels off the road. He was... the left-hand side of the car was on the track at all times. So I don't know where that penalty came from. I don't know why that penalty came up, but I'm 100% convinced that will get removed. I was watching on board, and he did not go off the track.
The NLR driver swapping position down at Stowe. So Yoris getting through on Rookie, probably because Rookie's got the time penalty.
Yeah.
It'd be better for Yoris to try and, gain in a few positions and not be stuck behind his teammates. But what we got? 6 penalties already. We're on lap 5 and we've got 6 people with penalties. That is not ideal at all, is it? But let's have a look at the tyres to see what people are running. And everyone's on the hards apart from Alberto and Alex, who obviously pitted after the start. So Alberto probably looking for a safety car to come out shortly. 30 seconds behind the pack, so it's not ideal.
Shouldn't be that hard for a safety car to come out of Silverstone. Well, usually we see someone throw it in the wall.
Normally, but these drivers are next level. They're very quick, so to see them end up in a wall is quite unlikely. To see them probably spin is even more likely, but it's very rare you see people DNF on track at Silverstone, isn't it?
Oh, Tim Bayer up into 13th position as well, getting ahead of Casper with, I think, an inside move coming down. into Brooklands. Very nicely does the exit left field into Woodcock now down the national pitch straight once again. He's got the run ahead of Casper. I don't think Casper's going to come back through on the inside. And there's now a mini group starting to break away, actually. They are 9/10 back. They're losing the DRS train to the top 12 in front, as Jan Petro still keeping that gap at the front ahead of Bogdan Moldovan to 5 6/10 of a second per lap.
Well, the top 5 hasn't really changed, has it, since the start? And that's Tygo
Yeah,
Hardy
actually,
going for a move on Rocky as they come through into Stoke. Gets ahead just before the braking zone, moves himself up into 8th. Rocky's going to try and fight back, but I don't think he's got the pace to get him into the chicane. No, he's not. So Tygo now securing himself in 8th position. His next target will be the other NLR driver of Yoris. So currently he's in a NLR sandwich between Yoris and Rocky. And that's also, I think, Julian Klaffenbach getting through on Tim Bayer.
Yeah.
We're having a battle with Tim Bayer down at the exit of Club. But looking up, hang on, we got Casper Priest and Stefano Samsin fighting here for 14th. Stefano's lost lots of pace. I'm not sure if he's got damage, but he seemed to have a great start. But he's just
wide.
He's just being eaten up at the moment. And Casper rides on the back of him as they come through. The loop now in towards Aintree. He'll get the DRS. Stefano won't. So it's a good opportunity now for Casper just to get the DRS and either sit behind in the train or get through on Stefano and then try and get yourself back into that DRS train. And Alexander Johansson quickest so far with a 30.101. Obviously he's on the medium, so it doesn't really mean much right now. But Bogdan, look at this, gaining on Gian Pietro Giono as they come out of Cops. So I believe there was a bit of a mistake for Gian Pietro there, so it's allowed Bogdan to capitalise a little bit, gain and gain and gain. But he's starting to gain a lot in Max and Beckett's too.
Yeah, he's right on it.
Let's see.
You have the DRS coming down Hango as well, and he's in him. He's going for it. Right out to 8th gear. Inside at Stowe. It's a bit risky, Richie.
It is, but he's got to sit back. There'd be no point in making an overtake, in my eyes. It wouldn't make sense.
Yoris has passed Cameron. Yeah. Fail is an opportunity. We've seen Perez, Hamilton, and Leclerc battle here before.
Liam, Bogdan, and Gian Pietro are going to recreate it, maybe?
Yeah, I think they should do. They're getting very close together.
And
there's how much boxes into turn 1.
Charles Sutton on the back of Emmy there. TTL just not shown much pace at all so far in this event. Not had much pace in Bahrain and today, 15th and 18th.
Ahead of Rookie now for 9th position, by the way, Richie. So that's changed over once again.
And the gap's now, what, 1.4. So Cuba's got to get a bit of more pace in the high-speed corners and the mid-speed corners before the DRS zone so we can get back into the 1 second. Otherwise, he's just going to start losing more and more time if he can't gain. And Charles Sutton with the DRS over Emmy. Diego Fernandez getting through on Casper Priest there, demoting Casper down to 16th. He's got the penalty. Could also lose out to both Emmy and Charles if the gap sticks like that when we come to the final classification. So really not going well for TTL at all. Onboarded Lars Butterman. He's on the charge for Rookie as they come through into Max and Beckett's. Also Julian Klavenbach just sitting in just behind as they come through. Rookie losing a little bit of pace there to Cuba. So the gap's 5 tenths between the two. So Lars will be looking for a push on the back of Rookie as they head out of Chapel. Very nice there. And Lars already alongside as they come through into Stowe. They're going to be side by side. Lars is going to break later, but Rookie's still going to try and stick it in there. Can't do so. And that's also Julian Klaffenbach. Was about to look for me, but just couldn't make it through. So now we've got Lars Butterman into 10th position. He's going to now try and get through on Cuba and then try and get himself back into that DRS train. But look at that. Julian Klaffenbach gaining lots. I thought he was going to make contact really as I came through Club because he was right behind. And look at this. Rookie's losing lots and lots of pace to Lars already. And Julian going for a dive bomb up the inside in turn 3. Gets the move done, puts himself into 11th. Now he's going to be able to just leech.
Was he going to try the outside of Julian as well? He thought about it. He's right on the back of him, actually. Coming down Wellington. He'll have the DRS, but I don't think he can pull off 2 moves in the space of 3 corners.
I doubt it. As they come through now into Brooklands. And there we are. Julian pretty much securing that 11th position. And obviously, if everyone didn't know, the top 19 all score points. So if you're in 15th, you're still going to score points. It doesn't matter. But Cuba, he's gaining back on to Tycho within the second nearly. So he'll be able to get himself into that DRS train. And then the DRS train will go back to, 15 cars. A really big DRS train. Look in the chat. TF dominance in chat. Indeed it is. You've got Black Box, Kian, Max. All in the chat there. supporting TF, currently first and 8, so not doing too bad. But ETA in a better position in second and third. Bogdan, yet again, gaining on the back of Gianpietro, not able to get through. He just sits behind, leeching the DRS. And the same dominating challengers, racing, league racing, and YT chats. Well, you're definitely not wrong. Jerry, Ewat Baru, don't know what that means.
Cuba's down now
if
as
possible,
well, 130.79.
keep it English because I don't understand German and Dutch or whatever.
We
But
need
still,
translators.
yeah, we need some translators in the commentary box. But Tycho Hardy could be looking to get through on Cameron Thompson soon, as Cameron's got out of the 1 second to Joris. So it would be pretty beneficial for Cameron to try and get through. Not Cameron, sorry, Tycho to try and get through so he doesn't lose more time. But Cameron just getting back into that 9/10 gap, out to the second again. So it's very touch and go with the 1 second gap for Cameron. And that's Tim Bayer. Rookie's dropped
Rookie's
down.
off the track. He's off. He's gone very, very wide coming through Brooklands. And I think he missed his braking spot. Just flew off the track.
Yep, don't know what's happened there for Rookie, but it's not ideal. Down to 14th. He was up with his teammates in 6th and 7th earlier. So it's not what he wants, but it's that's part of it. He'll lose, well, provisionally will lose a position to Diego Fernandez as he's just within the 3 seconds of Rookie because Rookie's got the penalty. Julian Klaffenbach, he's kind of stuck in that 11th now. He's not going to get through on Lars, and nor is Lars really going to get through on Cuba. So it's
Tell you one thing. Oh, hang on. Who was that side by side? That's Diego passing Casper into the braking zone. They're side by side, and Diego is through into 15th position. Nice little move there going on as well, coming through Stowe corner. And looking at the front, we're just waiting for pit stops, aren't we, Richie, really? That's what we see so often in esports. As soon as we'll get the first runs on the track with medium compound tires, we'll be rocking and rolling.
Well, surely the pit stops will be around lap 15, 16, I presume, something like that. So we've got a few laps to go until that. But, you know, in most races we commentate over, it's normally dull, isn't it, in that first part? You have the first lap, that's all about people getting those first couple of positions, then everyone settles into the DRS train. Doesn't really make many overtakes, but then when the pit stops come, you have people pitting earlier, later than others, and that's where it really gets interesting. Because then you think, oh, he's only been running 2 laps longer than the other guy. Surely he's not going to have that much pace, but he does. And that's someone round. No, it's Alberto Bros letting everyone through. So he's lost lots and lots of time. 1 minute and 27 seconds-ish behind to Gianpietro.
Wide again.
It's going to cause a lot of trouble. It's not what he wants at all, is it, Alberto? Really, really poor from him so far. Obviously, 57 seconds behind the guy in 19th, so points are looking very, very scarce at the moment for Alberto, but his teammate's up in 7th, so he's got a bit of a ray of hope to help QRT get some nice points on the board. Stefano Samsin also on the back of Tim Bayer. The gap's 4 tenths between the two, and then Tim 1.8 seconds behind Julian. So realistically, we want to see Stefano getting through on Tim as soon as possible to then try and close the gap between him and Julian as we head on to lap 12 of the Grand Prix. Tiger Hardy still stuck behind Cameron Thompson as they come through in towards the loop and Aintree. And that was also, yes, Joris under pressure from Cameron as well as they come down in towards Brooklands. The gap 2 tenths between Tycho and Cameron, so you might see Tycho wanting to push a little bit to try and get through on Cameron because I think he's got a little bit more pace. Tycho's one of the quickest in here, I think. Obviously, you know, one of the TF drivers. He's doing really well in PSGL and WR, I believe. So, you know, he should be one of the quickest realistically. So he should be able to get through on Cameron and Joris and try to
really
get
like
himself into
Tycho Hardy. Yeah, really like Tycho Hardy as a driver. Really great guy. Really great racer as well. And I think he did progress. I think he's not in the qualifiers, is he, for the Esports Challenge? But I think he did. Sure. It was very close on the qualifying time.
Because I'm sure Tycho used to race under TF Rudy.
Yeah.
If I'm correct, I'm not sure.
On Cameron, he's going to do it on the inside and makes the job stick. And I think Lars is also up into 9th position further back, making the move. And I think, yes, and there's a yellow flag as Casper's round. Casper's off somewhere. He's dropped down, and now we're seeing pit stops come in.
Yep, that's Liam, Cameron, Lars, Sven all into the pit lane now. Obviously, it's going to cause a bit of an issue for Liam and Bogdan because obviously they can't put on the same lap. So this could lose Liam time, but it could also lose Bogdan time as well, depending on which type of strategy, undercut or overcut, is more better. But now, Bogdan, 5 tenths behind Gianpietro. And I think, then again, I think about it and I think, well, it's probably better actually that Liam pitted first, because if Bogdan was to pit first, then it'd mean Liam would be over a second behind Gianpietro. So, in order to keep ETA in some sort of DRS to Gianpietro, pit Liam first and then pit Bogdan after. Victor Santana 2 seconds behind the behind those two, and Joris also just on the borderline of that 1 second gap to Victor. But if he's not planning on pitting soon, he wants to get himself back into the 1 second. Otherwise, he's going to start getting eaten up by Tycho, as Tycho's got a lot of pace and he's starting to gain a little bit more on Joris as they head through in towards Magnussen Beckett.
Through we go once again then. Who's going to be the next one to take the pit stop roulette? Will we see loads now? Because everyone who came in put on medium compounds. How long will the two at the front take it as well? Will they pit together or will they try and undercut and overcut attempt on each other as well? I think they've gone through once again. No, they're both in together.
Oh, is that the top two in? Yes, they are. And Victor's also in, but Joris stays out. And Tycho's being bullied
Victor
to shreds in the chat. Blackbox says Tycho Hardy didn't make it to challenges. He ate too much. Well,
they come in. Sorry, they come in together now, and it's up to the mechanics to do a really super stop. And out goes Gianpietro and gets out ahead of Bogdan Moldovan, but they're closer than ever. And that means it's going to be up to who gets the accelerator first in the exit of the pit stop and who doesn't spin up their tyres coming out the pit lane. Where was Liam?
Liam's just coming through the start-finish straight. Now we'll be heading into turn 1. Where does Liam come out compared to the others? They're already out, but Liam's going to have fresher tyres. This could give him a little bit of an advantage. Bogdan fighting Gianpietro into turn 3. Look at Liam on absolute amazing pace. He's got the warmed-up tyres. This could potentially give Liam a P2.
Bogdan was so close coming out of he's losing the rear of the car as well, coming through into Aintree down the Wellington Straight. He was right on the back of Gianpietro and then lost the rear. Liam's right on the back of them two now as Cameron I think calls in the yellow.
No, I think it's the McLaren there. That would have been Stefano or Cube. One of the no, it would have been Stefano. So I'm not sure what happened there. But look at Liam already on the back of these two. Obviously having the better tyres, it's giving more of an advantage. We'll have to see if Liam can try and get through on Bogdan.
Yeah, he's pulled Sven Schumacher in too. So four-way fight for the win at Silverstone. Game on.
It's looking like it because Victor's 2 seconds out to Sven. So Victor's not going to be able to get himself back into the 1 second gap. But Tycho Hardy with a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And now I have an idea of what type of jokes are going to come in the chat after that one.
Yeah, Tycho pits, Joris pits, and here comes Bogdan. Right round the outside, wheel-to-wheel stuff. He's muscling his contention through. Gianpietro's going to have to back out of it. Bogdan on the inside of Vale. Oh my God, it's happening again. He's going to force him wide. Where's Liam to come through? The camera's showing the wrong picture. Side by side through Club, they're both off the track. Fantastic stuff. Yep,
and Gianpietro's still keeping that provisional lead as we head now back through into Abbey. And my audio's cut out. 1 second.
And here we go round the outside. Bogdan's trying to have the run. Side by side for 4th position. Gianpietro's still up into 3rd. Liam's there too. And if we go look on board then, with Liam looking ahead to these two, down we come once again. Through towards turn number 6 at Brooklands. Is he going to make the move? He's going to think about it. Big lunge on the inside line. Side by side. Bit of a wheel bang. Liam's going to come through. Still side by side battling the Ferrari of Bogdan. Ferrari to Gianpietro. Bogdan in the Alpine on the inside as they come through Woodcut. Down towards Cops Corner. This is critical, Richie, if your mic's back.
It is, my mic's back. Yeah, I accidentally unplugged it. But Bogdan is trying to put Gianpietro in an absolute skate as they come through now into Magnussen Beckett. But Liam just sitting back, he's loving this. He's like, come on. Well, I suppose he's not excited for them to take each other out because his teammate's ahead of him. But he wouldn't mind a little bit of action to get himself through. But the thing is, when Bogdan and Gianpietro fight, they're using their tyres more than what Liam is, so it can help Liam with tyre wear. And now Sven also just sitting in behind 2 tenths, so he's not really going to get too involved, I don't think. I think he's just waiting for some action up ahead. But Bogdan, absolutely on the back of Gianpietro, just wants to get through as soon as possible, chucking a dive wherever he can. And Victor Santana now still 2 seconds behind, so a shame that he's not in that 1 second gap. But Tycho Hardy's got to get through on Victor before he can start challenging the top 5. Tim Bayat has got the fastest lap of 29.3. He's down in 14th. But the TTL guys still staying out. They might be looking for a possible safety car, maybe. As we head onto the Wellington Straight down into Brooklands.
Yeah, do you remember what we said about microphones and issues?
Yes, I do. I do remember that.
That's the second coincidence of the day I've had. Anyone care to guess what the first was? Literally last night, I was speaking to my friend about how crazy times COVID was and how lockdown was all about. And he goes and gets COVID. And I get exposed to it, but luckily so far negative. And hopefully we'll remain negative.
Liam, just 5 tenths now behind Bogdan. Sven gaining a little bit. He's just 2 tenths behind, so I can't see. Can't really see much moves between the top 4 happening just yet. But also to call, look at Victor. He's gaining now time on the back of Sven. So he's got to 1.7 seconds. Tygo Hardy looking for a move on Victor, using his ERS, using the DRS to his advantage. Gets himself into 7th, well, provisional 5th, but 7th on track at the moment, ahead of Victor and Lars. Lars also done to gain a little bit on the back of Victor Santana. So Victor's advantage was on 5th. Was in 5th at the start of the race, but he's now dropped to a provisional 6th. Lars could also try and get through. Tygo Hardy takes the fastest lap with that as well. Puts himself on the board with a 29.0. Alexander Johansson to the pit lane now. He'll be pitting onto some new mediums. Surely it won't be soft just yet.
I don't think he could take them, yeah.
I don't think he could do 9 laps on those. I'm not sure.
And especially at Silverstone, I don't think I would risk that. Oh, Cameron with a penalty for track warnings again.
Not ideal. It's Cameron with 6 seconds worth now, and he's... I don't know if there's an incident. Look where he's come out. He's down in 16th currently.
Yeah.
And actually, we're going to have a look at the top, because look at that. Gianpietro's gained onto the back of TTL. Very odd strategy from those two.
Yeah,
not sure what it,
I just realised they were leading.
Not sure what it is, but it's interesting. Bogdan, look at that. He's 1.5 tenths behind there as they came through cops. Just sitting behind that Ferrari. He wants to get through so bad. But
I'm
now...
being informed. Rich, look at the chat. The 2 TTL cars are both on 100% tyres. They're done. They are literally crawling in at this point.
Oh.
And look how much they're just losing it. And this is perfect though for Bogdan because there's a car in the way.
Yep. And that is Gianpietro good up for the move. Oh, the TTL still defending. They're not messing about. They can defend because technically they're ahead on track. But I don't know what they're trying to do. Gianpietro having to try and get through on them both as they come into Vale Chicane now. Oh, and Gianpietro pushing them one. The through goes Bogdan.
Unbelievable, they did it. They actually did it. Fantastic. Oh, wow.
Absolutely amazing stuff. Liam Stevens on the back of Casper Priest as they come into turn 3. Can't get through just yet. Right on the back of that Alpha Tauri. This is really, really not good for Liam. And it's not good for Sven and Toka behind either because it's going to bring the pack closer and bring even more people into the battle. Oh, a bit of contact between Liam and Casper. But I'm not quite sure what the TTL guys are doing here. It's a bit of an odd strategy, but fair play to them, I suppose. They might as well. They've got nothing to lose. But Casper there. Not letting through, but Liam getting through on Casper. Sven Schumacher also going to be looking to get through on Casper as well as they come through in towards Cops. I think Sven's going to go for a side-by-side into Cops. Yes, he is. And he goes for it. Oh, bit of contact between the two. Casper going wide. Sven pushing him off a little bit there. Tygo Hardy also starting to gain on the two now as they go in towards Magnus and Beckett. But Casper Priest literally becoming Daniel Haddad at the moment. And look at that. They've just got no pace on those tyres, have they? So Tygo Hardy now looking to get through. And a bit of lag from Casper as well.
Oh, and on the grass! Gianpietro was on the grass as he's taking the lead! In the net lead of the race, and Bogdan's holding it round the outside. Gianpietro was literally on the grass, coming down fantastic! Still side by side as they come
down. Oh, that's Gianpietro! Being collected by Liam as they came out of Vale, and that's Sven Schumacher looking to take P2 off Liam, and Bogdan, they've got a 1 second gap. Sven and Liam side by side into turn 1, and Liam's still taking that P2, but Tygo Hardy also getting involved, trying to go up the inside of Sven, very close to contact between the two, but luckily they make it through safe and sound. But this is getting even more interesting. Bogdan is out the 1 second gap now, so he can just start to just walk away with it a little bit if he can keep up the pace. Sven Schumacher up into 3rd, but Ogiano, it's not what he wanted. I'm not quite sure what happened between the two in Vale. I can't really say who's at fault because we don't really get the best camera angles on the spectator view.
We need camera angles a lot higher up to see what was going on because they're focusing too much on one. Here comes the Red Bull, though, of Victor Santana on the inside, getting past Casper. Casper's beginning to sink on those tyres. He's just running as long as possible on the hards, and he's really causing problems with the drivers as well out there. But this is Bogdan Moldovan, ET8, our 1-2 at the moment. Sven Schumacher third, and poor Gianpetro got collected twice, got spun round by Bogdan, they got hit by Liam.
But look, Lars Butterman coming out of Chapel now, nearly side by side with the rear of that AlphaTauri. And also Joris going to be looking to get through, and Nazi gets through on Lars. So Lars has looked for a position, but lost a position as they come into Stowe.
Right in the way. Casper's right in the way. He can't jump quicker.
And
now he pits.
Finally.
But look at Julian as well in 10th position as well. He's going to get, well, now to 9th as well. Right at the back of these two. Down the start-finish straight. If he can get a little bit closer, he's not too far back.
But at the moment, ETA coming out of round 1 were an absolute heartbreak. Sitting in minus points. And now they're looking to take a 1-2. That's, I believe, something like 50 points, I think, if it's a 1-2. So they really want that. That's going to help them a lot in the championship fight because we're on round 2 of 6. It's not like you've got 11 rounds to make up points. You've got literally, after this, there's 4 rounds. So they've got to, 3 rounds after this race. So they've got to do a lot and a lot just to get themselves into the top position because then again, they're here to win. They're not just going to, want to settle for 3rd or 4th. But
they are pushing as hard as they can, aren't they, out there? This is absolutely brilliant
stuff. Looking in the chat, Mark says, I didn't know what TTL was 2 weeks ago, but I love them now. And Jack says, Casper did a perfect job. NLR rookie needs to straight line Liam Stevens to make this interesting. And FVR Thomas says, I used to drive for TTL. No way, Tom, you actually got a seat somewhere. That's a big surprise. But Sven Schumacher on the back of Liam, but it's changed from it being Gianpietro Bogdan Liam to Bogdan Liam Sven. It's changed completely in a matter of 2 laps, but look how dark it's getting. I don't think it'll be raining. Well, I hope it's not raining, but it's getting darker out on track, so the track temperature will come down, lap times will start to climb.
Oh, don't you say that. I was worried about that weather. I did mention it deliberately earlier when I saw that the fact that when they came in for their first pit stops, the clouds were starting to come in at the back of...
Can you confirm? Oh, Sven Schumacher with a 3-second time penalty. Oh. But can you confirm, Josh, that that Timon drove for TTL?
He did when we were doing BBB Esports on the PlayStation League. And I commented on Timon, and we're very much still in touch as well. In fact, he was one of the champions as well at BBB.
I'll put my hands up there. That was a mistake made. I didn't expect that. No offense, Timon. You just, the manager.
Under a different name back then.
Oh, a different
name. When he changed his name, it took me 2 minutes to realise who he was. That was back in the
thing
PlayStation
is,
days.
look at the penalty situation. Tycho and Sven on 3. No, Sven's on 3. Tycho's on 5 seconds. So that puts Joris up into provisional 4th. Gianpietro's still on the podium. So this is going to still get more interesting as we head into the final 5 laps of the race. But ETA having an absolute masterclass so far. 1st and 2nd. A 1-2 for ETA is what they want. Looking further down, there's nothing going on, but the track's just getting darker and darker and darker. And the one question we've got to ask is... the one thing we're going to ask is, are ET8's plan Hamilton-Rosberg or Max Perez? What type of plan do you think they're going to go for? Absolute let them race, or just, you know what, you're behind, so you stay behind?
I would say you're behind, stay behind, because it was they raced and Bogdan came out on top. I don't think they're going to change it around. If it's that type of teammate relationship, I would respect the boundary of you were quicker on this day.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask for anything. If I can get past you, I'll pass you. But no.
The question always is as well, is if Liam and Bogdan are in communication. If they're talking to them in VC, they might be able to figure out a strategy. If not, Liam might just think, you know what, we're not, it's my race at the end of the day.
Yeah.
If we make it clean, then we can still take the 1-2, because we know Liam's a good driver and we know Bogdan's a clean driver as well. So, I don't think they're going to crash each other out if they go for an attack. I think they're going to make it fair and square. Charles Sutton, the other TTL driver with a 3-second time penalty. We haven't seen much of him this race. He's on the mediums. Alexander Johansson taking the fastest lap yet again with a 28.6. Liam just now 4/10 behind on Bogdan as they come out of Magnussen Beckett's out of Chapel. But then again, Ogiano gaining on his teammate. Can he get through on Hardy as they come into Stowe? No, he can't.
Oh,
But he's got to
Ferraris.
send it. Tycho lets off, lets him
Yeah.
through. Goes a little bit wide on the exit, but no harm done. So the
Sorry,
two
just
TF
it took me a
guys...
second to realise you were already there.
The two TF guys just swapping over down at Stowe. And Sven just sitting in the middle of all this in third with a penalty.
I was just thinking back to the BBB Esports days as well to think if I can think of any stories about Timon when I knew him. But he was just such a dominant driver in the Dutch series as well, winning the championship.
What was Timon called in his old days?
Oh, well, I can't remember that. I can't remember back then.
Timon, you tell us.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I forgot Mark's ETA. Mark, tell us. What do you want your drivers to do? Do you want them to race or do you want them to just stick behind each other? Are you a Toto Wolff or a Christian Horner? Both of them are bad either way, but you know.
Well, if you question, well, you said, Richie, that it was it Tom or Rich? You were in the
Tom.
box.
It was
Richie,
Tom who said it. It was Tom.
Said it's time for Toto to go, isn't it? Like,
if they do, I'd probably die of a heart attack. Well, so it depends if Liam and Bogdan want to commit manslaughter.
Well, he's put it on the stream now as well, but don't worry, I've got a box of celebrations inside of the commentary box. I'm sure that...
Hang on, box of celebrations? You want to celebrate if Mark has a heart attack?
No, he tells me they're going to want to. They're going to want to.
Bring back Super Gamer 8833 for Timon. Was that his name? Super Gamer 8833?
Yeah, I think it was actually at some point.
Wow.
I think that was one of his names when he
an extra thing to bully Timon on now. And also, Gianpietro going for a bit of a dummy move on the back of Sven Schumacher. Sven also getting on Liam Stevens as I head into turn 16 and 15 and 16. But still, Gianpietro, look, he's right on the back of Sven, but just can't get through. He's having the same issues that who was it now who had the issue? It was Tycho, wasn't he? Couldn't get through on it was Team Bayer at the start. It was XLTB TDB and NSX TDB those times.
Timon, are we on Discord together? I think we are. I've just asked the question in the chat, but if we're not on Discord, get me.
I was 13 and 11.
Yeah, wait. I want you. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, because get on our YouTube channel as well. So get on the watching ones. Come on,
so
have a look.
Timon's 18 now. You was commentating on BBB 5 years ago.
No, 2020.
Well, what's Timon about here? I was 13. Timon told me he was 18. So either he's learned about his age, or he knows his name's a bit cringy.
2020 I started. September 2020 I started eSport commentary with BBB, and then did that for 2 years, then moved over to PSGL Jan 22.
Oh, that's Alberto he went off at Magnussen Beckett, so he's now letting all the drivers through again, so he's been lapped twice. He's been lapped again.
I'll admit it, sometimes
also,
I do miss... Oh, go on, you first.
Gianpietro on the back of Sven, sorry about that. He's just coming through into the exit of Stone. He's right behind, but couldn't get a move.
Yeah,
carry on, Josh.
I was just going to say, I remember Timon winning and under the TDB name now. Now you've said it, it's come back to me. And I do miss it a lot, actually, the BBB Sport days. I was reminded the other day when a notification flashed up for one of the links to one of the races we did. And I miss it, but... the racing is fantastic, and we had all the esports series together then on PlayStation League. But everyone from PlayStation then has moved over to PC, so I still see everyone.
We can't be plugging in BB Esports. We've got to remember that.
Oh, well, that's folded. That's folded. BBB Esports folded. Yeah, it folded like a year ago. It's an old league, very dead league now as well.
At the moment, with the top 5. I don't really know who's going to walk away with the on-track part. Obviously, when it comes to off-track, it will be Bogdan Lim and Gianpietro.
Yeah.
But when it comes to off-track, on-track, I don't know. Because Sven's got some pace, so is Gianpietro, so is Tycho, and Victor's also starting to get himself a little bit involved with this as well.
You took the words out of my mouth. Sven here is looking absolutely fantastic. He's within the tenths, 8 tenths to Bogdan, 3 tenths to Liam. It's looking fantastic they can get him, and the 2 Ferraris are right there. Gianpietro wants a fight back. We're coming up to the last lap, Richie. We are going to have a dogfight at Silverstone. Dogfight RF at Silverstone. Brilliant.
Because Liam's one of the young ones. He wants to get a win in the bag. Bogdan's also wanting to get a win in the bag. He's had such a good race so far, so he wants to secure that win. Tycho also on the back of his teammate. We're going to hope the Ferraris don't take each other out. Then again, it probably would be a normal Ferrari strategy to do that. If he was in real life, of course, but we're not. So hopefully they have more brain cells to not take each other out. Also, Sven, just 5 tenths back on Liam now, so he's not really posing much of a threat to the 288 guys ahead. Pardon me. And also, Tycho. Yeah, I need to choke then. Catch on the back of Algiano as they come through out of turn 5 at Aintree, and he's not going to be close enough to make a move, of course. He's going to gain a little bit. Actually, is he going to go for it?
Oh,
no.
Yeah, the Fry's
yes, he is.
Fry.
I think they let him through. I think he let him through because of the penalties, possibly.
Wise, I would do it. Let him through, keep it through, because you're going to get the pace back anyway. But I think Liam and Bogdan are going to stay status quo or status quo.
We'll see as they come through now. 4.5 tenths between Liam and Bogdan. Liam on 25%, Bogdan also on 25%. This is going to be a grandstand finish. Will Liam be able to get the position off Bogdan and take the win? Will Bogdan be able to hold off Liam? Or will none of them finish on the podium if they collide down at Stowe? But we'll keep on board with them just for now. The ERS and DRS both on for Liam. He's going to start gaining. Bogdan's also going to burn. I don't think it's going to be enough for Liam at all as they come into the final corner. And also Tycho looking to gain on Sven Schumacher, but can't do it. Sven keeps that provisional third. But Bogdan, it's been a long time since we can say he's won a race, but he's coming into the final corners. Sven and Tycho voting, but we want to keep on board with Bogdan as he comes through into club and wins the British Grand Prix. Liam makes it a 1-2 for the EC8 guys, and Gianpietro, despite having that spin at Vale, comes home in third. Joris, absolute amazing performance, put himself on to fourth. Julian into fifth. Cuba in sixth, followed by Sven in seventh with that penalty. Stefano in eighth, Lars in ninth, and Tycho down in 10th. Not what he wanted at all. And then we have Victor, Tim, Rookie, Diego, Emmy, Cameron, Charles, Casper, Alexander Johansson, and then finally Alberto Barros. But that was a great, wasn't it? Great battle after the pit stops with Gianpietro, Liam, and Bogdan. And it was Bogdan, Gianpietro, and Casper who recreated that Hamilton moment, wasn't it? I need to watch that back after. But that was, I swear that was identical. Honestly,
that's going on TikTok.
It's got to do. That was absolutely amazing. Pleasure, yet again, Josh. I'm sure you'll say the same. It was a pleasure to be able to commentate here on this race because it was absolutely amazing.
That's put the cobwebs away, ready for racing tomorrow.
And I know I definitely wasn't as up in performance because I've got a sore throat as well. So trying to manage that was also a challenge throughout the race. But absolutely amazing from ETA. There was at -2 points out of Bahrain, 10th in the standings, about 10 points behind TTL, but they've came out now with what? 50, actually, we're going to work it out because I've got the point system on the screen. There we go. 55 points they're going to come out with, which is absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely amazing. Not going to be enough to take any of the... I don't think it's going to be enough to take the top three. Actually, it might be enough just about to take TF10 in the championship. They're on 34. It could be close, depending on how many TF10 got. And also, Talent Factory, they're going to have a nice little bit of an extension. Oh, they're going to have a bit of an extension in the championship. Unai Vega says, what a race. It was an amazing race. But Bogdan wins over Liam Stevens to make it a 1-2 for Alpine, a 1-2 for EC8. Then Gianpietro Guillon finishing third, followed by Joris, Julian Klaffenbach, Kuba Tresiak, Sven Schumacher, Stefano Samson, Lars Butterman and Togo Hardy is the top 10. Then the rest of the guys on the grid: Victor Santana, Tim Bayap, Rookie, Diego Fernandez, Emmy, Cameron Pratt-Thompson, Charles Sutton, Casper Priest, Alexander Johansson, and finally Alberto Barros. But one thing to take away from that is not the best performance from QRT or TTL, unfortunately. Really, really big shame for those.
Yeah. Really is at the moment. But,
and I'm not sure what happened with Alexander Johansson, to be fair.
No, Johansson had a weird race, didn't he?
Didn't he? Yeah.
The pit
lane
a lot.
The fastest lap.
The only thing I can think of is if he went off at the opening lap, which we did see contact because two cars came to the pits. That's the only thing I can think of. But, yeah, good race. Well done, Bogdan. Bogdan winning the race with a Hamilton move, I think is just brilliant.
Very nice to see Bogdan back on that top step. I haven't seen him in the last 6 months. I think I've seen him win twice, so it's nice to see Bogdan back there where he belongs. Liam Stevens as well. Absolutely amazing performances in F3 at PSGL. He's beaten a few F2 drivers here, so he's got some great pace around this track. But coming into the race, I didn't think EC8 would be taken away 1-2.
No, neither did I. So that was an absolutely fantastic race and a fantastic race at Silverstone. And to quote my Walker, I've got to stop because I've got a lump in my throat. I haven't got COVID, but you know, because we've been doing, Richie, we've done a lot today.
We have.
FP1, FP2, and now the EML series.
And then we've
And
got
your voice is gone. My voice just turned hurt.
we've got
I
the
had to
sprint
soothe it
tomorrow.
during race.
Then we've got
Yeah.
qualifying, and then on the Sunday we've got the feature race of F2. So we've got a busy day tomorrow as well, and Sunday. But thanks yet again, everyone in the chat, for joining us. Great race, great entertainment from the drivers, great entertainment in the chat as well. TF are liking to bully Tycho a lot, so I'm sure he won't be too happy with that, but we don't know. You can leave the inside hatred to each other. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining. It was a great stream. Josh, thanks for joining me today. It's really nice to be
Pleasure.
accompanied by you as usual. And we'll see
As
you all
always.
next week for round 3, which I believe is, I don't remember. It might be Saudi Arabia, maybe.
Oh, what a track.
I'm not surprised, but we'll have to see. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining. We'll see you next week for EML round 3 on the PC Challengers Cup. So goodbye.